Beneath the scorching sands of Sudan lies a hidden fortune that most of the world rarely talks about, a treasure so valuable it could reshape the global balance of power. Gold, uranium, copper, and rare minerals that fuel our smartphones, electric cars, satellites, and even weapons, all buried deep within one of Africa's most war-torn nations. Yet, instead of prosperity, this wealth has brought chaos, corruption, and competition from powerful nations eager to take their share. As the world races toward renewable energy and new technology, Sudan's minerals have become the latest prize in a silent global struggle. You may not see Sudan in the headlines every day, but behind the scenes, its resources are shaping deals, wars, and alliances that could influence the future of global industry. Who truly controls these minerals, and why are foreign powers so interested in Sudan's soil? The answer reveals much more than a story about gold. It's a story about power, greed, and survival. Sudan, a vast country stretching across northeastern Africa, sits at a crossroads between the Arab world and the African continent. With its strategic position on the Red Sea and its rich underground reserves, it has long been considered one of the most resource-rich nations in the region. From gold-laden hills in Darfur to uranium deposits in the Nuba Mountains, Sudan's earth holds extraordinary potential. But this wealth has often been a double-edged sword. Decades of political instability, civil wars, and foreign interference have kept Sudan from benefiting from its own natural gifts. Instead, these resources have turned into sources of division and exploitation. Gold has become a lifeline for armed groups, smuggled across borders to fund wars. Foreign companies and governments have entered deals that favor their interests, leaving local communities impoverished and landscapes destroyed. Sudan, Adi's story is not just about minerals. It is about how natural wealth can become a curse when it falls into the wrong hands. To understand why so many nations are targeting Sudan today, we must look beyond the surface of the desert and into the layers of history, power, and ambition buried beneath. Sudan is a land blessed and burdened with extraordinary natural wealth. Beneath its deserts and mountains lie some of the most valuable minerals on Earth. The country is Africa's third-largest producer of gold, exporting hundreds of tons every year, though much of it never makes it to official records. Hidden in informal mines and remote areas, millions of Sudanese people dig for gold with their bare hands, chasing the dream of a better life. But gold is only the beginning. Sudan's soil is also rich in uranium, a mineral critical for nuclear power and weapons, copper, essential for electricity and renewable energy, and chromium and manganese, used in steel and battery manufacturing. These are the same minerals driving the global transition to clean energy and advanced technology. With the world demanding more electric cars, batteries, and electronics, the value of Sudan's minerals is skyrocketing. Yet despite this natural abundance, Sudan remains one of the poorest nations on the planet. The question isn't whether Sudan has resources, it's who truly controls them. Over the decades, corruption, smuggling, and secret foreign deals have turned these minerals into silent weapons of influence. The promise of prosperity has instead become a struggle for power. Sudan's earth is rich, but for most of its people, that richness has only deepened poverty and conflict. To understand Sudan's present struggles, we have to revisit its past. Resource exploitation in Sudan didn't begin recently. It began under colonial rule. During the late 19th and early 20th centuries, when Sudan was under joint British-Egyptian control, foreign powers mapped and mined its resources, extracting wealth for their own benefit. The land's riches were never meant to uplift local communities. They were used to strengthen empires. After independence in 1956, Sudan's leaders promised a new era of national prosperity, but old habits persisted. Power became concentrated in the hands of a few, and corruption seeped deep into the political system. When oil was discovered, it brought both hope and destruction. For decades, Sudan relied heavily on oil revenues until the secession of South Sudan in 2011, when most of the oil reserves went to the new country. Suddenly, mining, especially for gold, became Sudan's economic lifeline. But without strong institutions or transparency, the mining sector fell into chaos. Informal miners clashed with militias, and local communities saw their lands polluted and seized. Wars in Darfur, South Kordofan, and the Blue Nile were not just about politics. They were also about resources. Each armed group sought control over mines and trade routes, knowing that whoever controlled the minerals controlled the money. Sudan's mineral history is, in truth, a history of how greed and power have repeatedly silenced justice. Sudan's mineral wealth has not gone unnoticed by the world's most powerful nations. Each sees Sudan not as a war-torn country, but as a potential gold mine. Literally. Russia, through private military companies like the Wagner Group, has played a significant role in securing gold mines and exporting tons of unregistered gold, bypassing sanctions and funding its own global ambitions. China, on the other hand, approaches Sudan through investment and infrastructure. Through the Belt and Road Initiative, China has built roads, factories, and power stations in exchange for access to resources and strategic routes along the Red Sea. The United Arab Emirates has emerged as a major hub for Sudanese gold, much of it smuggled, processed, and traded through Dubai's markets. Western powers, too, are watching closely, concerned about global competition for rare minerals vital to renewable energy technologies. The result is a complex web of alliances, deals, and rivalries. Each nation justifies its involvement as investment or development. But beneath the surface lies a competition for control, a 21st century scramble for Africa. For Sudanese people, this global interest brings both opportunity and danger. Foreign powers may offer roads and money, but their true interest lies underground. Sudan's minerals are not just resources, they are geopolitical leverage. And in this race for control, Sudan itself risks becoming the prize, not the player. While foreign powers and elites profit from Sudan's resources, ordinary Sudanese pay the highest price. In gold-rich regions like Darfur and River Nile State, miners work in harsh, unsafe conditions, digging deep pits by hand without protective gear. Mercury and cyanide used to extract gold poison rivers, soil, and the very air people breathe. Livestock die, crops fail, and communities suffer rising cases of disease. In some areas, child labor is common. Young boys digging under the scorching sun, hoping to find a few grams of gold. Entire villages have been displaced as powerful groups seize land for mining operations. The wealth of the earth has become a curse for those who live on it. Beyond the environmental damage, the human toll is immense. Militias and armed groups often fight for control of mines, turning them into war zones. Profits from gold and mineral trade fund weapons and prolong conflict. Meanwhile, the government struggles to regulate the sector, and corruption ensures that little of this wealth reaches schools, hospitals, or infrastructure. Sudan's minerals are often celebrated as a gift of nature, but for many Sudanese, they represent a daily struggle for survival. A reminder that the true cost of gold is measured not in dollars, but in lives lost and lands destroyed. Until the people benefit from their own resources, Sudan's wealth will continue to be someone else's fortune and its own downfall. Today, Sudan stands at a breaking point. The ongoing war between the Sudanese Armed Forces, SAF, and the Rapid Support Forces, RSF, is not only a fight for political power, it is a battle for control of the country's most lucrative assets, its gold and mineral trade. Both sides depend on these resources to finance their war efforts. The RSF, which controls large gold-producing regions in Darfur, has allegedly built a vast smuggling network, moving gold through neighboring countries and into international markets, often linked to partners in the Gulf. The Army, too, maintains its own ties to mining companies and export channels. In this tug-of-war, Sudan's minerals have become the currency of conflict. Civilians are caught in the middle, facing displacement, hunger, and violence, while their country's wealth leaves in trucks and planes bound for foreign markets. The international community watches with concern, but often with conflicting interests, torn between condemning violence and protecting their own access to resources. The result is a tragic paradox. The richer Sudan becomes in minerals, the poorer its people grow. Yet hope still flickers. Sudan's natural wealth could one day fund peace, rebuild infrastructure, and offer opportunity to millions, if managed transparently and fairly. But that future will require courage, unity, and global accountability. Until then, Sudan's earth remains both a blessing and a battlefield, its treasures fought over by the world while its people fight simply to survive. Sudan's story is one of both unimaginable wealth and unbearable struggle. Beneath its surface lies enough gold, uranium, and copper to transform the nation's destiny. Yet those same minerals have become the fuel for endless conflict and exploitation. For decades, foreign powers, private companies, and local elites have dug deep into Sudan's soil, each claiming to bring development or stability, but leaving behind broken communities, polluted rivers, and unfulfilled promises. The people of Sudan, who should be the rightful beneficiaries of this wealth, continue to bear the heaviest burden, trapped between poverty and war, while the true value of their land slips away into foreign vaults and global markets. But the future of Sudan does not have to follow the past. The same minerals that today fund division could tomorrow finance peace, education, and progress. With transparency, fair governance, and global accountability, Sudan's resources could build a nation where prosperity belongs to its people, not outsiders or warlords. It starts with awareness, understanding how the world's hunger for minerals shapes lives far beyond our borders. Every smartphone, every battery, every ounce of gold connects us to Sudan's story. As the dust of conflict settles, the question remains, will Sudan's treasures continue to be a curse, or can they finally become the foundation for a new beginning? The answer lies not only in the hands of Sudan's leaders, but in the world's willingness to value justice as much as it values gold.